36 years of basketball knowledge and life skills. Your host, Coach Goins, focuses on today's topics on and off the court, helping players and coaches achieve their goals. So get ready for another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game with your host, Coach Goins.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fast break episode of Basketball More Than the Game. Listen, I just can't contain myself today because I tell you what, it is going to be a super tight show. As we always say, make sure you got your sneakers laced up tight. But today we're going to make sure you got your track shoes and the spikes in nice and tight because we have a dynamic lady that is going to be on. But before we get into that, we got to make sure we pay the bills. So making sure that we stay current. And we want to definitely thank our sponsor out of North Carolina, Mr. Curtis Jackson, for your independent insurance needs. And now he is also eligible to sell insurance in Virginia. So he covers North Carolina and South Carolina, and that's Mr. Curtis Jackson. And his office is in Creedmoor, North Carolina. And you can call him at area code 919-614-5796. So without further ado, folks, you say, Coach, man, what are you doing? Are you in the gym? No, I'm back in the studio, but via telephone from Jacksonville, Florida. We have none other than Miss LaTanya Wynn-Hall. Miss Hall, welcome to Basketball More Than the Game.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
You know what, folks, I'll tell you what, if you don't know, you're going to know why she's on this episode of Basketball More Than the Game. So, here's what I'm excited about, folks. I've known I say young lady, this lady, basically all my life. And I'm very partial to this town that she grew up in North Carolina because that's where I grew up, and that's none other than Southern Pines, North Carolina. So with that, let me just, that's right. Come on now and make it rain. But listen, here's a couple of things. I'm not going to read all of her bio at this point, but I just want to kind of just, give you a little sneak peek into who we have on the podcast today. So from an athletic standpoint, it's kind of going back in the day a little bit. And we've got, she had the fastest 10 and under in the United States in 1976. She was the national AAU triple jump champion in 1982. North Carolina High School long jump champion in 1984. That's the year I graduated. And we also went to the same high school, folks. And 2 times national AAU 4x100 relay champion. She ran the second leg, and that was 1984 and 1985. I think I know some of her folks that was on that, and I'll let her get into that. And she was a 4-year, 3-sport high school letterman, volleyball, basketball, track and field from 1981 to 1985. Then she had a great opportunity by signing a full 4-year track scholarship to the University of Virginia in Charlottesville, Virginia. And it's not far from where Coach Goins lived, and she was there from 1985 to 1989. She was the ACC triple jump champion in 1987, UVA MVP 1987 through 88, UVA team captain 1987 and 1989. She participated in the World Championship trials in 1987. She qualified for the Olympic trials in 1987, and she's a University of Florida where grad assistant women track and field coach, 3-time NCAA jump champion, SEC women's track and field, University of Florida team champion, 1990 to 92. NCAA track and field, University of Florida team champion, 1991. And she was inducted into the finest high school in America. That was Pinecrest High School Sports Hall of Fame in 1999. So without further ado, we're just going to ask Ms. Hall, just how did this all start?
Okay, well, I'll tell you. My father was a well-known coach in our hometown. And he had no boys, and I was the third daughter, and he saw that I could outrun all of the boys in the neighborhood. And so there was a track club, Sand Hills Track Club, that he started coaching, and I joined, and that started my track career back in 1976. And so from the age of 7, I had it all mapped out that I would make it to the 1988 Olympics, and so my entire childhood was focused on nurturing that talent, building the skills to prepare me to be able to be on the 1988 Olympic team. But injuries happened, life happened, and I had a dream deferred, and I end up having athletes that actually participated in the Olympic Games. So sports have been a very integral part of my life. I transitioned from athletics to professional, but teamwork still remains the central focus. And I'm thankful for my experience that I had as a child and a teenager and what I was exposed to as a student athlete and what prepared me to then transition into the professional world.
You know what, folks, and you wonder why she's on the show? Stop wondering and just sit back and make sure you pick up that pen and pad. And as I always say, make sure you lean, listen, and learn because we have none other than LaTanya Wynn-Hall. So, hey, listen, let's kind of set the offense and defense for Miss Hall. And for you subscribers that already know, our first session of the podcast, we always call it the fast break. And as she just eloquently laid that out, and those of you that didn't have the opportunity to know her outstanding father, Coach Wynn, I tell you what, if there was a Hall of Fame in our area, he definitely needs to be there because he impacted so many young people and making sure they were on that positive road. But as Miss Hall was saying, growing up, and I think if she graduated class of 85, I was 84, I saw all of this, folks. So when I'm telling you the work, the dedication, the passion, it's a transferable skill. Now, so let's take a listen to what she does now. She's the executive director of the Lutheran service in Florida, and that's Duval Head Start and Early Head Start. And she oversees early education program that serves, listen to this number, 1,800 children from the ages of 0 to 5. So you see, as being, she's learned a lot. She's learned how to be a team player, but most importantly, she is a leader. She was a leader, and she just magnified that. So she's also worked in that social service profession for over 24 years, and 22 years she has served Duval County. So part of our fast break session, Miss Wynn, Miss Hall, and I apologize for that, is what we'd ask you to do is, kind of take us into that world. What does your day-to-day look like, and how has, sports allowed you to be the champion that you are, and you've used that skill to become a champion as you oversee the Lutheran service Head Start programs?
Okay. Well, the one thing that participating in athletics from such an early age, it helped me with discipline, with commitment, with being a team player and never giving up. And so what has happened in my life, again, as I was saying, that my whole focus was to make the 1988 Olympic trials, the Olympic team, and a month before the Olympic trials, I threw my knee out. I tore my ACL, which ended my career. So I remember at the age of 22, laying in the hospital bed thinking, what do I do now? Because from the age of 7, my entire life was working towards making the Olympic team. But I was very fortunate, one, that I had a praying mama and daddy who raised me in the church, and I knew where my source of strength was. And so I knew that whatever it was that I needed to get through, that I would get through it. So I was fortunate enough, since I was at the University of Virginia, I was in my 3rd year, and so I could graduate that following year. So I came out with a bachelor's degree, and thinking that I was going to enter the profession, and had a wonderful opportunity to come to the University of Florida to be a graduate assistant track coach. And so I was able to attain my master's degree. So thankfully I was able, because of my athletic talent, I was able to get 2 of my degrees free. I never paid a dime for my bachelor's nor my master's degrees. And so I came out at the age of 25, and because I had the education, I was able to move up the ladder quickly, and one, because of my work ethics. And so I've been very fortunate these last 25 years to transfer that work ethic, discipline, commitment, team into now building a team. My current position, I have 200 employees that I'm responsible for. And like I tell them, it's the same that I used to say when I was coaching, that there is no weakest link, that I need a first place 10 points just as much as I need the 8th place 1 point.
Come on.
Because when you put all those points together, we win a national championship.
How about that?
So with the team that I've built, it doesn't matter if you are a director, a supervisor, a manager, direct services, maintenance, bus driver, whatever it is, you are part of the team. And everything that you contribute is for the betterment of the team. And the the goal of our team is to educate these early childhood children and prepare them for kindergarten. And so my whole thing, if you were in my staff meeting, you were here team all the time. My emails I address as team. Everything is starting with the team and strengthening the team. And I've been very fortunate with that mindset to be able to retain staff. In social services, especially when I was working in the foster care arena for 13 years, they had a high turnover rate just because of burnout and the nature of the job being available and accessible 24 hours a day. But I was able to have one of the lowest staff turnover rates in the state with that population because we supported the team. I would make sure that, same with my athletes, do you have the support, guidance, and assistance that you need to be successful in your sport or in your position? And so everything that I do is transferable from my life in athletics to now as a executive director.
You know what? And that's she's from the hometown of Southern Pines, North Carolina, and we have on none other than Miss LaTanya Wynn-Hall. So listen, folks, as she said, she is has a master's degree from the University of Florida, and she also is married to Mr. Ernest Hall, and she's also a proud Gammy of 4 beautiful grandchildren, and she's also a member and trustee of Bethel Baptist. So again, the roots run deep, and I know her parents are so proud of everything that she's accomplished. But just what I really want to call out to our listeners is, most importantly, is the balance that she has, and we're going to ask her to talk about that in a second. But you say, Coach, man, how can I make sure I'm still dialing you in? And, we're on Stitcher, we're on iTunes, Podbean.com, Facebook, and as well as SoundCloud. So listen, we're going to jump right on back into this thing. So, LaTanya, if you don't mind, talk to the audience a little bit about, the work-life balance, because, I've known you basically all my life, and I know whatever you do, you put your heart and soul into it, because there's no way anybody can achieve any of this stuff by just deciding just to go home, put your feet up, and just wait till it comes. Sometimes you have to get in the water and swim out to the boat. But you're a trustee at Bethel Baptist. You're a grandparent. You're a wife, and I know your husband is hard charging as well. So if you don't mind, tell our listeners, how do you manage your profession, your home life, your duties and responsibilities at the church?
Okay, I'll try to be really quick because I do a training on work-life balance. And so I know I don't have the 2 hours that I would normally do the training, but the gist of it is I have individuals to write down the 5 most important people in their life.
Wow.
And then I say, mark out 3. And then I say, mark out 2, where you just have 1.
Wow.
And so if that is the most important person in your life, what do you need to do in order for you to be a part of that person's life? So I tell them, you come to work, you do have a job. That job comes with expectations and accountability. So you have to figure out how you can work hard but be able to play harder. And so I am very organized. I have my schedule, my daily schedule, my weekly schedule, my monthly schedule, my yearly schedule. I know vacations ahead of time. I prepare for them. I just plan my day so I can come home and be able to be the wife, the gammy, the sister, the church member, the community, the friend, and I balance that. But with that being said, you have to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot be that good parent, that good wife, that good significant other, that good church member, that good friend. And so I believe in me time, and I take my me time. I tell my staff to look at your calendar and say, I'm going to be off that day. Get your leave approved, and then you plan so you can take that time off. And do not take your phone with you, because if you have your phone, you're still going to be working, and your family deserves to have all of you, and you deserve to be away from the office. And this is truly a struggle for a lot of people, and that's why I really have to work, especially when I was in foster care with the burnout rate, is to get them to understand you have to be able to balance that work-life balance. And also, the population that I was dealing with, unfortunately, were abused children and dysfunctional families.
Okay.
And you can really take that home with you. And I had to be able to say, I do the best that I can with the resources that I have, and I have to be able to walk away at the end of the day and come home. And so whatever your schedule is, I am very fortunate that I am Monday through Friday, but again, whatever work that needs to be done as an executive director, I will plan on like a Sunday evening to do that to prepare going into the week. I am definitely not one of those last minute. I just think organization and preparation, and it's the same with sports. You know, you have to practice. You have to be in shape in order for you to compete. And I think that's the same with the work-life balance. You have to be in shape. You have to be whole. You have to take care of your mind, your body, your spirit. You have to take care of self, family, and work. And you have to work every day to maintain that and to balance it.
Wow.
One example
Go
I
ahead.
use is if your child has a game at 6 o'clock, you wake up that morning trying to think, what do I need to do during the week, that day, in order for me to make it to my child's game? And you need to have that same mindset every day of what do I need to do at work, which means you might not be able to sit and chat with your coworkers as much. You might not be able to take that long lunch. You might not be able just to do other things. You are focused on getting your work done so you can get to your child's game. And that's the mindset.
Wow. And you know what, folks? And you wonder why she leads the state of Florida in retention. Because when you think about it, if you have an executive director standing up in front of you, now she just gave us a condensed version. So imagine sitting in this session and getting the down and dirty from A to Z. And why, how could you not work for this lady? How could you not want to be a part of her team? Because she eloquently laid it out what you need to do. And a lot of times, people don't think about that. You get up and you got that event at the end of the day that's special, and as she said, in that work-life balance. And again, I take that to heart, LaTanya. Maybe I need to leave my phone and walk away and just be able to take a step back and catch your breath, because sometimes we're busy being life and we're busy doing things and we don't stop and take care of ourselves. But listen, we certainly appreciate you sharing that from the heart as relates to work-life balance, and we challenge all of our coaches and as well as our players that are our followers to take heart exactly what Ms. Hall just eloquently laid out for you. Because again, everybody that we have on the show, we always ask them that question, and it's always a different mindset, a different path that leads people for them to be successful. So before we take this break and end this session, we definitely want to thank all of our listeners and followers across the United States. We are just absolutely so excited of this will be show number 31. And again, it is such an honor to have Ms. Wynn-Hall. And again, we want to thank our folks and followers in Australia, Japan, United Arab Emirates, and also United Kingdom, Finland, and Germany. So I hope everybody will continue to listen, because this episode will be one I guarantee will be touching the masses, just because of not only the caliber of lady we have on, but just everything that she brings to the table. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hello, Shenandoah Valley. This is NBA Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson bringing you a new, exciting radio show called Out of Bounds with myself and Lamont Goings.
Hey, Ralph, thank you for the opportunity to co-host such a great show in the Shenandoah Valley. You will be impacted.
Hey, we're excited to bring you this new show. You don't want to miss it. Coming in August.
That's on 1240 ESPN Radio, and we'll see you Out of Bounds.
Stay tuned.
All right, we're back. So listen, we're so excited about that upcoming show on ESPN. Have a honor to work with a good friend of mine and the former UVA grad, Mr. Ralph Sampson. And so we're certainly looking forward to Out of Bounds and the guests that we're going to have. And we're going to be bringing it hard and heavy. And that's going to be on 1240 ESPN. So excited. So listen, Ms. Wynn, we're going to turn our attention and get into the second half of this podcast we call In the Paint. And when we get in the paint, we're going to, and you know the game of basketball. You can't get down there and camp out more than 3 seconds. So we're going to make sure that we keep you moving from post to post and just working those angles. So with that, we're just going to kind of go back in time, if you don't mind, as it relates to this whole track and field. And as I was reading down through here, I could see you guys, ladies, warming up back in 1984, 85 on the track. People would just, and folks that don't know, people would just stop what they're doing if they were on campus. we'd be at baseball practice, and they said, man, they get ready to run. And everybody run over to the fence, make sure they get them a little piece of that track at Pinecrest High School. So let's kind of go back in time, if you will. What was your most memorable moment with that 94-95 National AAU 4x100 relay team?
Okay, that was with a summer league track club, a state of Durham Striders. They were at that time one of the number one track organizations, and they had recruited me and others throughout the state to make this dynamic 4x100 relay team. And so that's what they did. So it was 4 of us from 4 different parts of the state who ran together, and we were the number 1 in the nation. And so what that told me, I took a sense of pride in it, is that I was identified because of my talents and my accomplishments that I had done working up to that. So that was a very proud moment to be selected to be one of 4 of the so-called fastest in the state to make this dream team to win the national title, which we did.
Wow. And that also, I looked down through this resume. Folks, again, I mean, it's one that I think I might have to frame this thing for when we put it in the Hall of Fame for basketball more than the game. But, when I look down through here and I see the volleyball, I see the basketball, track and field. I know track and field is your passion, but I'll tell the folks, and I got to talk a little bit about basketball, because how can this be basketball more than the game? We don't talk about basketball. Folks, she could go to the rack. She could get out there and she would just flat out make it happen when she was on the basketball. So tell us a little, what did you like about basketball?
Well, of course, the team. And the good thing is that I played every position. I played guard, forward, and center. And it was whatever the team needed. And at that time, Pinecrest was really known for basketball. I mean, we had state championships under Coach Moore, and it was just a sense of pride just to be, Pinecrest High School girls basketball. And again, just the teamwork, the friendships. I mean, I'm still in contact with a few of those ladies, girls, who played together. But, I loved volleyball, basketball, and track. I mean, it was a little piece of all of those different sports that I loved all 3 of them, and could have gone to college with any of the 3. But my true love really was track and field.
And here's the thing, folks. So when somebody can come out and they can touch, I mean, you think about volleyball's going on during football season for the guys. Basketball, of course, stands along with basketball, and then she gets to be able to come out of that gym. All the from November until late January, early February, and be able to break out and get out on that track and just let it rock and roll. But I tell you what, you knew when LaTanya Wynn, and I'll call it this way, when you knew when LaTanya Wynn was on the court, either volleyball or basketball, and you knew when she was on that track, because without a doubt she was going to make sure that she represented her father. She made sure that she represented Pinecrest High School and us as classmates, just making sure that she took care of business from top to bottom. So we certainly appreciate everything she did in reference to that. LaTanya, you still there? All right, folks. So again, just understanding exactly the passion and the desire that she had to be a champion on the court, as well as when she touched that track. So here's another one we're going to toss out, and again, as we continue this segment of In the Paint, going to University of Virginia, which is definitely a different institution. I've always been a big fan of UVA, and then that's because of just my favorite player and played there. But now that I live just 35 minutes from Charlottesville, I spend a lot of time at Charlottesville, and I spend a lot of time at UVA. If you don't mind, just share that. What did it, how was it being recruited? How, take us down through the life of LaTanya during that time frame of, coaches wanting you and how you landed at the University of Virginia.
Okay. You're taking me back. Wonderful. At that time, the University of Virginia had been the ACC champions under Coach Craddock, I want to say, for at least 4 or 5 years. And that was, again, one of the reasons why I really wanted to go, is because I wanted to be a part of a winning team, and I wanted to contribute to that. And so I really had no idea of that UVA was such a prestigious academic, university. It truly was. They were ACC, champions, and where we live, ACC was just everything.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I made I accepted their full athletic scholarship and became a student athlete, and it truly was and still remains just one of the highlights of my life. Again, just being part of a team, being able to contribute. My main event was triple jump, but I also did long jump, and I ran on one of the legs of the 4x100 relay. And whatever the team needed, that's what I did, and it was, again, just a wonderful experience. And from there, the coach at the University of Florida had just asked the coach at the University of Virginia what I was doing after I graduated, and said if she's not going to be a graduate assistant there, I can use her at the University of Florida.
How about
and
that?
So you just never know who's watching you.
Come on.
It's always good, just to, just be a good reflection that people are just watching you, because that's all it was a conversation between two coaches that then led to me coming to the University of Florida, to get my master's. So, and again, I think it's just the discipline, and they just see it. You walk it, you breathe it, you talk it.
Right, and again, it's always. So I'm going to say it like this: coaches are always looking for diamonds in the rough, and I guarantee you, when that coach they saw something in LaTanya, and next thing we know, she's down there in Florida and making it happen down there. So, folks, think about this. Now, she's from Southern Pines, North Carolina. She went to Pinecrest High School. She goes to the University of Virginia, and not only does she go, she represents, she graduates, and I just want to just highlight this. She was the UVA most valuable player from 87 to 88. She was team captain from 1987 to 1989. In that, let me ask you this, LaTanya. I know we're in the paint. During that time, I mean, what was your? I mean, as your father sat there and he watched you do all of these things, I mean, what was his words back to you doing this? I mean, when I call it your heyday, if you don't mind me kind of hanging that cliche on there. I mean, because I guess he saw the full body of work. He saw the training and the preparation. So if you don't mind, being sharing with us his perspective as a coach in his own right.
I'm just going to share a couple of things that my dad did as a coach. And one of the things was, he said, if you're going to do it right. And I remember him sending me home from track practice because he didn't feel like I was giving my all. I remember him, it was certain things that I was supposed to do, and if I didn't do it, before that night was over, I would have to do it. I remember him getting in a car and riding behind me as I was jogging, at night, and he just instilled in me work ethics. And my father, he has his own history of some things that he had to overcome, and he was just my role model. And so I always knew that whatever you do your best, and that if you don't do your best, you are cheating yourself and you're cheating your team. And so my father, he's no longer here, and I take pride in knowing that he was so proud of me, not only of my athletic accomplishments, but the young lady and the woman that I was becoming. And it truly was, like I said, because of something that he saw when I was 7 years old.
How about that? And then, folks, so, think about that, parents. It's bottom line, what she's saying is work. She just didn't, wake up and just all decide when she was a sophomore in high school, I can go do this. No, it was the blood, the sweat, the tears, and again, her dad pushed her. So nothing wrong with, having that support and channeled in the right way and making it happen. So listen, I know we've been going for quite some time, and I got to stop, and there's no way I can get on this show, have somebody that I've known all my life, and not give honor where honor's due. And I definitely want for you to give a shout out to Mr. Ernest Hall. I know the husband, and again, and I know he's got to be. I haven't had the opportunity to meet him, but with him and anybody that I know from my childhood and their significant other, and I know he has to be a dynamite person. So if you don't mind sharing a little bit about Mr. Hall, we'd appreciate it.
Well, wonderful. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Yes, Ernest is actually what I call him, my IT guy. He actually just retired from the University of Florida, and he was there for 35 years as a system administrator. So now he is enjoying the fruits of his labor and retired with some contractual and consultation, jobs. But he was a long distance runner, so that's funny because I was not long distance. I was a sprinter. And, you're absolutely right. He is the best thing that could have happened to me. And I am just so thankful to have him in my life. And I think I'm just as proud to call him my husband as he is proud to call me his wife. And we do make a good team, Team Hall. We make a good team. And we work hard at Team Hall.
You know what, and that's to be commended. And as I always tell people, iron sharpens iron, and behind every good woman there's a good man, and behind every good man there's a good woman. So again, we definitely wish God hands continue on your life as well as Mr. Hall, as you guys continue to be leaders in that community and also continue to be leaders in Bethel Baptist. So listen, as we start winding this down, LaTanya, I'm going to give you a second or so before we come back with your final comments. But most importantly, folks, we want to give a shout out to ACC Sports, which is an organization here in Stanton, Virginia, who has absolutely, in my opinion, has just reached the pinnacles of youth sports. They're working very, very hard. They just onboarded track and field. So I'm going to make sure that I reach out to these coaches and have them dial this podcast in this week because of who we have on. But brand new track and field. They went to the Commonwealth Games, brought home 13 medals for the first time that we've actually put a team, organization, a division of track. We had 6 travel basketball teams this past year. 88 kids participated in our youth basketball program. We have volleyball, flag football, baseball. And then we're looking at bringing on wrestling next year. So for your youth sports needs, please go to www.playacsports.com. They're currently registering for flag football and rec volleyball. So the registration line is alive and well. So for parents and anybody that's looking for a great place to plug their kids in, ACC Sports is where you want to be. So let's kind of go on and travel back down south to Jacksonville, Florida. And what we're going to do is ask LaTanya to come back, give us her closing comments, what's on her heart. And again, we certainly appreciate everything that she says. But I know as deep as that reservoir of the passion that she has, I know that she can take us out on the cloud as we've been on the cloud all during this episode. But LaTanya, if you don't mind, we'll give you your closing comments.
Okay, wonderful. When you say basketball is more than a sport, I think athletics is more than a sport. And most athletes who compete, a lot of them is over when they finish high school. For many of them, it's over when they finish college. So you're saying at 22, your life is not over. It has truly just begun. And even if you are fortunate enough to be that less than 10% who make it to be a professional athlete, your professional career normally lasts, maybe 10 years, if that. So that puts you in your 30s, and your life is not over. So you have to position yourself to be able to make those latter years as fruitful as your beginning years. And that's where the challenge comes. We need our student athletes to graduate from college, to get that degree, to then have a professional career. We need them to understand that life happens, injuries happen, and you need to be able to adjust and be resilient. And you have to know, you have to have some source of strength. And I'm not saying what that source is. Everyone has to get their own source of strength that they can hold on to. I think this generation, we give up too easily. And you have to know, you got to put the work in. If you do your part and that other source do their part, you can make it. And so that is my passion, that, when you are 40, 50, 60, 70, you are living the life that you were designed to live and that you had learned the lessons along the way. And I guess that would have to be my closing statement.
Wow. So, folks, you know what? From Southern Pines, North Carolina, and now from Jacksonville, Florida, Executive Director of Lutheran Service, Florida, Head Start and Early, make sure I get this right, Duval Head Start and Early head start. That is none other than LaTanya Wynn-Hall. So listen, we certainly appreciate everything that you're doing for the kids in Jacksonville, Florida. And anybody that's out there that's listening to this podcast, please pass this information on, because, what another great dynamic episode. And it's not about Coach Goins, it's about the folks that we have on, so people can be able to reach out and tap in and get what they need, and again, to be a little better every day in their life. So listen, from the staff of Basketball More Than the Game, we want to definitely thank Miss LaTanya Wynn-Hall. And in closing, as I always say, make sure you're working on your game. Because somebody, if you're not in the gym, somebody is. And our closing scripture always is John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And I'm your host, Coach Goins. Until next time, I'll see you in the gym.